Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANS Gear, and we're looking at the brand new Planet Eclipse MG100. Everybody's wanted to see it. It's here. I've got one. We're going to open it up and we're going to take a look at it. So let's get into it. Open it up. Say hello to your new EMEK, the EMEK MG100. Do what it says. Register now. Go to the website, planeteclipse.com, and register your new marker. That way you can get the full support from Planet Eclipse and all of its authorized Planet Eclipse warranty repair centers, wherever you happen to be. All right, we're going to move this just kind of over there for now. So look at the gun. Here we go. Revel in its beauty. So this is a mechanical gun. There's no electronics in it, meaning there's no eye system inside of it. There's no board. There's no battery. There's no firing modes. There's nothing. It is semi-automatic. It's going to shoot as fast as you can pull the trigger. We do have the 14-inch two-piece barrel underneath here. This is a 6.89 barrel. Comes assembled. So the kit, this EMC kit, is already on the gun, as you can see inside the box. So if you want to take it apart, you want to take some of the screws out, you want to make it a shorter CQB model, you want to put stuff on it, you can do all that stuff. They just pre-assemble the kit on it and put it in the box. Because of this, you will not see a box like a metal box that comes on all of their other markers, or most of their other markers. Just because to manufacture a box that would fit inside of this, a zippered case, it would be too cost prohibitive to have a giant case and this thing inside of it and all that jazz. So this is how you're going to see it. That box that I folded open is how you are going to get them. It's not a prototype box or anything. That's how it is coming, and it will be pre-assembled just like this. So as you'll get this, you will also get this inside the box. And this is your accessory kit inside here. So we'll open that up. We see that we've got our manual, and it is an actual MG100 manual. It isn't an addendum to a different manual. You're going to get two barrel sleeves inside of here. You're going to get a standard size barrel sleeve just in case you're not using the full length shroud. This will just work for the barrel. If you are using the full length shroud, then you have a wider barrel sleeve that will fit over the shroud assembly at the end. Spare parts kit, magazine, which we'll talk about, this stuff, which we'll talk about, Allen keys, grease, O-ring spares, and then this, which we'll talk about also. All sorts of things to talk about. So let's just put this back in the box over here for now. And the first thing we will do, we're going to talk about what comes in the box. What's in the box? So in the box are a couple different adapter pieces for you. We've got a drop stock adapter and a standard stock adapter. And then we've also got these little tabs. If you want to lock these pieces down inside of here, this is what that tab is for. Push the tab in and it locks the two shroud pieces together. Excuse me. Be careful when you are taking those tabs out. If you don't pull directly out and you angle them as you pull them, you can break them. They do give you an extra set because you probably will break it the first time, but that's what it's for. Those little tabby doos are for. All right, so the stock. If you are familiar with the EMC kits from the past, then you know how the stock adapter section works. There is a little tab that flips up, and it is right here. You grab it and you can flip it up like that. You can see that whoop, 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 whoop. That flips back and forth right there. Now this allows whatever is inside here to slide out when the tab is open. One thing I will let you know or remind you or just pre-warn you is this screw, and this screw that squeeze the shell of the EMC kit together. If you really crank those screws down, it makes it almost impossible to articulate this tab. So if you find that you just cannot open this up, just loosen those two screws and the top one a little bit, just a little bit, and then try it again and get it to the point where the kit is secure on the marker, but you can also open this up. If you don't ever plan on opening it up, don't worry about it. Just tighten them down. But I have seen it where you just can't open that. It's too tight. So we've got that opened up or flipped back, whatever you want to call it. And this will allow the plug at the back to come out. This is just the blank plug right here. This is if you're not using anything inside there. That comes out. If we want to just put a stock straight out the back of the gun, then we would use this one right here. This is just the straight out the back stock adapter. This is for the 98 custom compatible stocks. So if you have something like that, you're set up. If you don't, pick one up. And this just slides in, just like this one came out, which I believe is like that. So the large tab goes on the top. Same as this. So large tab on the top. You put the stock in, you put the other side on top of it, sandwich it together, go ahead and slide it in, and then lock that down. If you don't want the stock to come directly out, they have a little drop setup for you. So this will allow this drop down and the stock to be a little bit lower. Some people, when they shoulder the weapon, they wish that stock sat a little bit down, other than like higher up on their shoulder. So if they can bring it down a little bit, same idea, same thing. This goes inside of here, and the stock then goes into this part on the back. And this all comes apart. So you can put the stock in, clamp it together, like so. Put 2 screws in, bing bang, put that inside there, and then lock it down, and that allows you to put a drop stock on the back. All right. That takes care of all that. Nothing else hiding inside of there. So let's get this back in here, put that back in there, and then put our blank plug back in and close it down. Now going around the outside of the gun, we talked about the barrel and the shroud. You can separate it if you don't like it. The magazine that's in here right now, this magazine is just the blank magazine. This is designed for when you are going to use a hopper. There's a lock tab at the bottom of it that we can pull down. This ensures that as you're playing with this one in, because you have a hopper on top of it, that if you try to push the mag release, nothing happens. It locks the mag release so that it cannot release the magazine down. To release the mag, you have to pull the locking tab down, and then you can push the mag release and pull the magazine out. Again, this is for when you are using the hopper fed system. Underneath here is just your eye. Got some detents inside there. You can pull your covers off, and you can see these covers are a little bit, they look a little bit different in shape. Might just be because the way the frame is sitting on there. I don't know, we'll have to look when we pull that off all the way. So if we were going to throw a sling onto this, we've got a ton of different mounting points. There's you can attach all sorts of stuff up here to the gun. You got rails on top, so you've got a ton of mounting options all over the marker to stick things on there. This, which I really like, this large hole back here, this is for a quick release swivel sling adapter. So you can just pop that into there. Makes it super cool. So there's plenty of mounting options all over the marker, tops, sides, bottoms, depending on the accessory you have and the setup that you're trying to do. You shouldn't have a problem finding a way to mount really anything onto this marker. If we're going to do hopper fed, we do need to remove this cap that's on side here. So it's simple to remove it. We're going to pull the screw out. And once the screw comes all the way out, we'll be able to take this off and throw our feed neck on. All right, so we have our feed neck over here. We're going to put that on. First, we need to get that off. We've taken the screw out. It's easy to move these pieces. You can see that I can move that one, and I can move that one by hand. All I need to do is just pull them apart and then slide this right up and off. Very, very simple to get that out of there. I might not even need to pull them apart. You might be able to just slide it. Now you do need to pull them apart. I thought maybe you might just be able to slide it right out of there. No. Spread them apart a little bit and then you can pull it right up. All right, so let's get our hopper out. Or our feed neck. Let's call it our feed neck. Right there. So if you noticed when I pulled this off of here, there's a little tab, a weird little tab right there. And there's a hole in the front of the feed neck right there. What's that for? It's PAL compatible. So this marker setup right here is PAL compatible. If you're using a PAL loader, this will function with it. The feed neck comes with 2 pieces. Well, it's 2 different pieces, I guess. Actually 3 pieces if you count the lever. So we've got the feed neck and then our piston right here. So the PAL piston does have a little O-ring at the bottom of it. So before we install it into the marker, we're going to put a little bit of grease on there. That way when we drop it in, it makes a good seal and the piston articulates well when the air flows through it. We're going to drop that in, and then we can take our feed neck, make sure that the piston runs properly through there. If you see it, if you can see how I've got this right here, it looks like kind of like a lightning bolt right there, how it comes down, over, and then down. This is the way it installs into the marker. If you turn it around and try to put it in this way, it will not go in. When you try to drop the feed neck on, it will bind up and it will not go down on there. So don't force it. The shape should go up, away from the feed neck, and then up again. It should not, if you try to put it in the other way, you see how it angles itself out like this? You can feel it when if you put it in the wrong way, it feels like it doesn't go in. If you put it in the right way, it fits nice inside of its little spot right there. Makes sense. You have to feel it. If it's jutting out one way, you're doing it wrong. You should be able to easily drop that on there and then snap it down into place. And then use your PAL loader. If you're not using a PAL loader, doesn't matter. You can still use it. So it is PAL compatible, but if you don't have a PAL loader, you're okay. You can use any loader that you want. All right. Let's move it on. Let's talk about some magazines. Let's put this back on for now. Beep. So nothing gets lost. So the mag that comes with it, installed, we talked about, is the dummy mag or the blank mag for when you're using the hopper. If you're going to use mag fed, it comes with 1 magazine, and this is a dam mag, so the Dye Tactical magazine. And it is a branded Dye magazine. It says Dye Tactical on it. It's not a Planet Eclipse version of a Dye magazine. It is the Dye magazine. Now, what they've done though, is in the box, they've given you some accessories right here. So these are followers that they have designed. The shape is different than the one that comes inside the Dye magazine. And the springs that they have are a different springiness, for lack of a better word, than the magazine that comes inside of there. So they give you an upgrade for the Dye magazine. Now, if you have 20 Dye mags, don't worry, you can still use them. They will still function inside there without putting these pieces inside. They will still work, but these, through their testing, they found work better with all shapes of paintball. So whether it be the 68 caliber ball or a shaped projectile like the First Strike, these setups work better than the stock ones that come in the magazine. So they give you the parts, give you the option to upgrade it if you want to. If you don't. If you do, great, I would. They will also be selling kits with springs and followers, so you can upgrade all of your other magazines that you happen to already have or that you are planning on purchasing in the future. These are 10 round mags that come with it, and it comes with 1, like I said. If you're not familiar with the dam mags or the Dye Tactical mags, this is how they work. First thing you will do is push the follower down and it will lock into place. So we'll push them down and they lock into place. We will put 5 whatevers on each side. So either 5 First Strike or 5 68 caliber ball. Once we fill it all the way up, we will close the top. This is a dust cover that keeps goo from getting inside there while you're out playing. If you've got these in your in your vest pouches or wherever you're sticking them all over the place, you want to make sure that you're not getting stuff inside of there, so that when you actually go to put it in your gun, you don't introduce dirt and debris to the inside of your marker for no reason. So this dust cover is fantastic. When we go to put the magazine into the marker, it will pull the dust cover down and then release the follower like this. and allow the projectile to be pushed up into the marker. And it does it automatically for you. So if we've got that down, we've got that up, we put this in, bang, 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 bang. Well, only 5 bangs. And you can see that popped up. We flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done and done. And then we would switch out with another magazine. So again, this is a 10 round, so 5 and 5. This is compatible with the 20 round, which is 10 and 10. There you go. There's your magazine. And they will be selling upgrade kits for both style magazines. So 5 rounders or 10 rounders and 20 rounders. All right. Moving on. Let's get over to the gun. We talked about the outside. Pops ASA comes with it right there. I don't know if I said that already. Regulator adjustment is through the bottom. That's pretty standard fare that we're seeing through Planet Eclipse now. It works fantastic. No reason to really get out of that path right there. Push safety. Hinge trigger feels fantastic on there. Let's get the frame off and take a look on the inside. All right. I'm really liking the setup. It feels nice and solid. It's a long gun, but it doesn't feel overly cumbersome. All right, we got that off of there. We didn't talk about the bolt assembly inside of there. That's all right. We'll pull that out after we look at this thing. So here's our safety. You can see our safety moving around on the inside there, allowing the trigger to be pulled, not allowing the trigger to be pulled. Let's get the grips off so you can see inside here also. Quick release grips. It's a must these days. Here's our solenoid assembly. We'll pull that out. We can see right here, this is the bracket or the housing which holds the trigger in place. It holds the spring in place that returns the trigger back to its original spot. These do come out with a couple Phillips head screws, so let's pull this apart real quick. I don't know if we need to really take this out, but since we're here, we might as well, right? Half the fun is taking it apart. I guess if you can get it back together. It's no fun to take it apart if you then break it or don't know how it goes back together. But that's how you learn, right? Learn by doing. All right, so I'm holding this down with my thumb as I'm taking this out because I don't know if this is going to pop up when that last screw comes out. I don't know what it's going to do. So it's always best to hold something in place as you take that last screw off of there and then allow it to move by itself and you can figure out what it's going to do. Really didn't do much. I'm going to pull that off of there. So there's our top bracket. You can see our trigger return spring is right there. It fits into this little hole. And this is what pushes down, or this pushes the spring down and the spring pushes the trigger back out to the front. All right, let's see if we can pull some of this other stuff out. All right, so I'm going to take the spring out and I'm going to set it over here. I'm going to, the pin that goes through here is not a threaded version like we see in like the CS2. It does have a knurled side to it. So this side has all these little ridges on it, this end, and that's called a knurling. When we remove a pin like this from the side of any paintball gun, the knurling side must always come out first. If you go the other way, this knurled side, which is there to grip and grab so that the pin doesn't fall out, if you try to run that through whatever you're trying to take it out of, you're going to damage it. And you're going to make it too big and it might just get loose and you're going to have problems. So always inspect your pins. You look at one side, look at the other side, look for the side that has the ridges on it, and that side comes out first. So work from the opposite side. Pull that out first. All right. And now I'm going to remember that from the left side, my pin came out. So when I go to put it back in, I'm going to come from the left side and put it back in. All right, so that allows us then, we're going to be able to move some stuff around. We should be able to take out our safety pin right there. Now this doesn't have a bearing or a spring in it that locks our trigger or our safety pin in place. That piece is actually part of the cap that we took off. So there's a little lip right here that as this rides back and forth across the lip, it locks its different positions down. So we don't need to worry about a spring shooting out or a pin shooting out or a ball bearing, a tiny little ball bearing or anything coming out of there. There's our trigger. Now on the inside here, we have two brass pins, one there and one there. And this is going to hold the firing pin, it looks like, down, and it also holds the valve assembly inside. So we're going to pop those out. One side is larger than the other. We're going to work from the small side. We're going to push both of them out, and they are different lengths. So the short pin goes at the front, the long pin goes at the back. If you didn't notice that and you went to put them back in, you would see that because they don't reach all the way through. All right, so let's take this out now. We're going to pull, here's the top of our solenoid. Well, I don't know if you really call it a solenoid, our valve assembly. There's our pin. There's that. Now, let's kind of reconstruct this on the outside here. So that goes there. That's there. That's there. So this is what is going on inside of here. All right. So every time we pull the trigger is going to move like this. So this pin comes through here. So this is rolling on a pivot, right? Like this. And every time this pivots back, it's going to push this rod against this pin right here. And this is going to activate our valve inside the gun. When that pushes down, it activates the valve, air goes, the whole thing happens inside there. This sits above it, and this spring sits on here, so that when you pull the trigger back, the spring compresses, and then when you start to release pressure on the spring, or the trigger, the spring is going to push the trigger back out, coming back forward, coming off of here. The valve is going to reset, or the pin's going to reset, and then your firing sequence is over, and then you start it over and over again. So pull the trigger, push it down, fire the gun, let go, pin resets, shoot again. So very, very straightforward system. So straightforward that if you need to service it, you pull that solenoid out of there, or the solenoid pin out, and servicing it it's just easy peasy. It's so simple to take care of these things. I love it. I don't even know if I can get this off by hand. I don't think I can, but to get this out, it's literally, I think, 3 or 4 O-rings in there, 3 O-rings, and to service that. It's fantastic. All right, let's get this back together. You can see how simple that firing assembly is inside of there. It's awesome. Let's get you back together. I'm gonna drop that down in first. Make sure you push that down in there so that it seats. Next thing we're gonna do is drop our firing pin down inside there. You can see that lays down inside there. Everything lays in a perfect little spot. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna put my front pin back in. And as I push this through, you can see that it goes across the firing pin. That way, that if I turn this upside down, that pin can't move anywhere. Take this, put this on here. I'm going to give that a little bit of pressure. And I'm going to put that one back through there too. Now that's all set up inside there. This can come off for now. Take this, put that in. I'm going to line up the hole, and remember I came from the left side. So I'm going to put the left side back in, push that pin into place, put my safety in. Now I probably should have looked at that first. Oh, you can. I wasn't sure if I could get that in beforehand or not, but you can. I'm going to just put the safety in the on position right now. Put my spring in place. When I put this cap back on the top, I'm going to make sure that the spring goes into the hole. Then I can set that down on top there. I can move that over and make sure that that works. Does. Perfect. Now I can go ahead and put my screws back in. I'm still holding it with my thumb until I get 2 of these in. I'm going to hold it in place. I'm not going to let go. So I'm going to put one in the front. Remember, this is going into this composite, so I'm not going to over tighten it. As soon as I feel them start to snug up, I'm going to stop. It is not going into a metal threaded area, so there's possible you could strip that out. So as soon as I feel it stop, I'm not going to push it. This is not a section of the gun that you'd want to strip, because it is very important that your trigger works. Just right there. See, I'm not using any excess force on it. And right there. Safety on, safety off, on, off. Perfect. Let's put this in there. And then we'll do one last thing with this. We're going to just pull the bolt core out. I'm going to show you that it's the same as before. They haven't changed anything in there. And then we will be done. Now, there is going to be a tool that you can 3D print yourself if you have access to that, that helps remove the firing engine out of the marker without having to disassemble the shroud. Now, you can do it with just the Allen key. I did it earlier, but I'm going to show you what I did. It's not difficult. So I'm going to release the cap, take that off of there. This one. There are, I don't know if you can see down inside of there, there are 3 slots for an Allen key, just like before. I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to unscrew it. Because you really, when you're putting this thing in, you just need to go where it stops, and that's it. You don't need to crank on it and tighten it down. So you should be able to undo it by hand. I'm going to undo it a couple turns until I feel it let go, and then I'm going to put a little bit of slight downward pressure on the Allen key and try to pull that out. And it should pop right out of there. Now, I'm not bending it. I'm not sticking this in there and then like cranking on it. I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on it so that it doesn't want to slide out super easy. It just gives a little bit of grip inside there, and then I'm going to pull it out. There we go. Same engine as we've seen before. Put that back in there, Allen key back in, and then I can just twist that right back up. And there you have it. This is the brand new, everybody wants one, MG100 from Planet Eclipse. Pick one up. They are going to fly out of here. Get yours at ansgear.com.